Welcome to Apricot Cottage Studio. Today we're going to do some chicken cards. A long time ago, Stampin' Up! Offered in their celebration a Hey Chick series, and I purchased this with the wooden stamps. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell wooden stamps anymore, just the polymer ones, but I had this in my collection. But they have reintroduced it along with another chicken set. And the cool thing about this is they've added some dies, not only to cut out the stamps that match the stamps, but it also adds a whole pile of little details that you can cut out to add to your scenes. So today we're going to do a very simple card with the Hey Chick set, and then we're going to step it up quite a bit. So the first card we're going to make is a Hey Chick card. And this is easily done. I've cut an A2 size base and I've put some melon cardstock on there for a liner. And I'm going to use my new Stampin' Up! Inking brushes, and these are awesome, to do a little highlight circle. So I cut a piece of plastic and I used a circle die to cut out a circle. And then I just put some washi tape on the edge just so there wasn't any sharp edges. And I line up where I want my circle to go towards the top. I'm going to use Bashful Blue for my underlayer. And I like to hold on to the plastic like this. And then I just work my way around. And the nice thing about these brushes is they don't leave those big round circles that sometimes you get with inking tools. Of course, this is a circle that I'm working on, and it's supposed to be representative of sky, so I don't have to worry about if it's a little bit blotchy, because that will sort of look more like sky with some clouds. So I just keep working it around, inking up my brush. Don't have to press hard. These are really soft bristles and they do hold some ink. I also don't have to change my brush as long as I'm in the blue family when I'm changing colors. So I'm inking around, and now I want to do some darker tones. So instead of Bashful Blue, I'm going to use, you could use Night of Navy. I'm going to use Dapper Denim, which is a retired color, but I like the combination. So I'm pressing down again, holding on to my, and this time I'm going to just ring around, not doing the bottom because that's where my chicken is going to go. And there I've got my circle. So there's my highlight circle. I'll just put my lids back on my ink so they don't dry up. There we go. And now I want to stamp my little chicken. I'm going to use Memento ink. And this little chicken is quite amusing. I'm going to line up my plastic again because I don't want my chicken to be beyond my circle. He's going to be peeking out of the circle. And because he's peeking, I'm going to ink him on an angle. He's got some very funky hair, this little chicken. And I'm going to press down firmly and wait for a couple of seconds for the paper to absorb the ink. There we go. There's my little chicken. And I'm going to color him in with some markers, and I want to contrast with the blue. So I'm going to use some pink. And this is, what color is this? Oh, this is rose red. You could use lipstick. Coloring on the edge of his feathers. And then I'm going to take the same color that I've got my lining, and I'm going to color his bangs, or his feathers, I guess, and his little beak. And there's his tail. And I'm going to use the little saying that says, "Hey chick." And I want to angle that a little bit too, because it makes it look like someone is calling. Hey chick. So that would be for my cover of my card, like that. And I could use Stampin' Dimensionals to raise it up, gives it a little bit more dimension. And inside the card, I've stamped "Have a Happy Day," which is another one of the stamps. And I've used one of our stamps that I did a whole pile of them. I've done a video about that, stamping multiple sayings all at once, and it says "Happy Birthday." And then I've stamped the little egg at the very bottom. So very simple little card, but cute. So now we're going to step it up. So this time we're going to do a card with a lot of detail, and I've used the rainbow glimmer paper, and I've trimmed it so that it looks a bit like a sunset, just to give it some extra glimmer. And then inside the card is a whole farm scene. So how did I create this card? I cut a piece of 12 by 12 paper, and I happen to have old olive paper from Stampin' Up, and I cut it at 5.5. Then I scored it at the regular card side, which is 4 1/4. Then I turned it around and I scored 2 inches and 2 inches. So what happens is this creates a fold like this. And you need to take your bone folder and really press these folds down so that the card stays down. Like that. A little bit of pressure because it's got lots of layers. There we go. So now I've got my card formed like this, and I'm going to cut some lining pieces. So what I've done is I've cut a piece at 4, and I'll have all the measurements down below, and a piece at 3 3/4, and then I've cut 3 strips at 5 1/4 by 1 3/4, so 3 strips. And what I've done is ink them with my brushes, and I'll show you how I did that. I've done all 3 so you didn't have to watch me do all of them. What I would suggest is if you use a piece of scrap to hold on to your card so that you don't get inky fingers on your card in the places you don't want it, and the ink where you do. So again, I'm going to use the same brush, and I'm going to use the same colors, which are Bashful Blue. And I'm going to create a sky 3/4 of the way down the card. So my first coat is with the Bashful Blue. I'm going to start on my glass mat and just bring it down, re-inking as I see fit. And again, I can make it blotchy so that it looks like there's clouds in the sky. Sky is not usually all consistent blue, only on some days. So there's my first layer. And then I'm going to take Dapper Denim again, and I'm going to ink the top. Again, starting on the glass and smoothing it down just to give some variation in the color. Now I'm going to change my inking brush to my green one, and I'm going to flip over my card, and I'm going to put some grass at the bottom. So I'm going to use Granny Apple Green. And again, I've got my fingers on a scrap piece of paper so I don't smudge my inking. And I'm going to bring it up to the blue. I can use the same inking brush. I don't have to switch. And I'm going to use Old Olive because that's what my background color is. And that will give a little bit of definition to the bottom of the card. I don't need too much of that. And smooth out the blends. Very easy to do inking with these brushes. And there is my 3 strips. So now I'm going to glue my strips on. I want 1 strip on the first part. Like this, leaving a border all the way around. And I'm going to glue my glimmer paper. I'm going to start with the yellow at the top, as if it's a sunset. This just makes the card a little bit more fancy. Again, leaving a border, matching the same level. And I'm going to glue in my other panels. I've got 3 of them for the inside. So my 1 3/4 inch pieces go on the 2 inch pieces, like this. Oops, make sure my grass is at the bottom. And then my 3 1/4 inch piece. Lining it up. So now I have my sky and my grass all ready for my little chickens. So inside the card, there's a little tiny chicken coop, and I've cut it out of red paper, and then it's got a lot of detail on it that I just followed with my marker. And I'm going to put my chicken coop right on the edge. Oh, before I do that, there's some really cool pieces that die cut fences. And I want to tuck that behind there. If you were using this piece, I would suggest that you put a double-sided tape on the back of your cardstock when you cut it out. But I have a fine detailer glue here, so it doesn't take me long to glue it. And lift that up. And I'm thinking that I'm going to use one of the darling donkeys on this card. So I cut one out. I maybe put him behind the fence, like that. So they don't have dies. That's another freebie till the end of the month. Here's my little donkey looking at the chickens. Glue my coop back down. The other fence is going to go on the other side. You have to imagine that it's going to be all a continuous fence. So I'll just put it like that. Gives it a nice texture. Then I've got some chickens, and I think this chicken is going to be pecking some seeds. And this die set even comes with a very, very tiny die. There we go. that cuts out little tiny seeds. I'll show you what the die looks like. It's this little one, and it cuts out a whole pile of little tiny seeds. So I'm going to just put a little dab of glue. It does cut quite a few seeds out, but I've only got 3 that I thought I would glue for the video. 1, 2, 3. Here's the little chicken having her seeds. Then I'm going to, there's a little log for one of the chickens to stand on. So maybe I'm going to put the little log here. Put my other colorful chicken. This one I gave a red coat, red and brown coat too. This chicken's come in all different kinds of colors, I think. And there, that chicken's standing on the log. I'm going to add one of the corn pieces. So the corn stalk cuts out in one piece, but then there's a whole pile of little pieces for the corn. So there goes my stalk. And the corn comes in, you get 4 dies to cut out 4 pieces of corn at once, and 4 little plant pieces. I've already glued a couple of them together just to save a bit of time. So stick in the corn. There we go. And I'm going to add a stalk of corn on this panel. So there's something on each panel. This would make a really cute spring card, or a birthday card, or someone who loves chickens. I have a daughter that's been saying she's going to raise chickens one day, so maybe I'll save this for her. There's the corn. This one I'm going to add a couple of corn pieces. There we go. I used just scraps, and I used my small die cutting machine from Stampin'Up on my desk to cut all those pieces very quickly and easily. Then there's a little sign. I cut that out of brown, and it's again textured, so it looks like wood. And put the sign like that, and then I'm going to add some eggs. So there's also a little die that cuts eggs, and a little chick in the egg coming out of his egg. Can't see all the chick, just his legs. He'll go here, and then I'll put another egg on this side under the sign. You could put whatever you wanted on the sign. And then I'm going to use some of the corn pieces just to add a little bit of grass to the sign. And my little chick that goes at the front. Not sure if that's a chick or a rooster. And she'll be peeking out the top like that. And then where's my little hey chick? So I haven't decided if this one's going to be a birthday card or a spring card. Kind of like it on an angle, as if she's talking. There we go. And last thing I might order is a little sign that says, "Oh, happy day." on my sign. So there's my little farming card with lots of little detail. You could use wobblers underneath the chickens if you wanted to. There's room to stamp. You could put happy birthday on this space if you wanted to. I'm going to leave mine blank because I'm not sure what I want to use the card for yet or who it's for. So there's my farming card. So I've got a simple chicken card and a more elaborate chicken card. This was lots of fun to do. I like building scenes, and my little mini die cutting machine makes it quick work sitting on my side of my desk. This one is the Hey Chick die set. It's not available in wooden set anymore, just available in polymer. And there's also another set that coordinates with it. Oh, there's my little chick. So I put my dies inside my plastic bin so I can find them. This has got way more dies than what the stamp set has, but it does coordinate with both ones, and they are now available. And I also used for the second card one of the Darling Donkeys, which is a freebie for the next couple of days, available in the catalog. So I hope you had fun today. Thank you for joining me. Come back again to see what we're doing next time at Apricot Cottage Studio.